we do not want corruption to metastasize. So what we do is to train these people to develop the skill to be able to detect corruption risk in their establishment.
Through social inclusion, that is women coming together regardless of their different groups and different agenda or thing, they can come together and work together to demand for accountability.
Hello viewers, welcome to Transparency Files, ICPC's weekly television program. I am your host, Murna Barnabas Atiaye. The principles aimed to creating a transparent national workforce involves building a culture of accountability, ethical behavior, and openness within the organization operations. Today on the program, we shall be focusing on building a transparent national workforce through the Anti-Corruption Academy of Nigeria, ACAN, ICPC's training arm. We would also be highlighting the importance of such programs as well as their impact on creating transparency in the workplace. Also on our lineup, we have our youth segment and reports from our state offices. But first, let us join Ruth Awodi with anti-corruption stories. It's over to you, Ruth.
Welcome to this segment on Anti-Corruption Stories. I am Ruth Awodi. ICPC has secured the conviction of Mr. Martins Ugu, who impersonated and used the certificate of his best friend to secure a job at the Federal Ministry of Health. ICPC had in February 2016 filed a 7-count charge before Justice Abubakar Idris Kutigi against Ugu for making false statements to the chairman of the Federal Civil Service Commission, through which he secured employment into the Federal Ministry of Health in 2006. The commission said the offense contravened Section 25, subsection 1, subsection A of the Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Act 2000 and punishable under Section 25, subsection 1, subsection B of the same act. The convict, according to ICPC, also drew salaries and allowances up to 17.2 million naira between 2006 and 2016, after working for about 10 years as a medical doctor at the Federal Ministry of Health with the fake documents. During the sentence hearing at the Federal Capital Territory High Court, Jabi, counsel to ICPC, citing Section 319 and 321 of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act, ACJA, urged the court to order the restitution of all money the culprit earned while he was parodying himself as Dr. David George. Delivering his judgment, Justice Kutigi stated that the issue of quack doctors has taken a new dimension and the sentencing of Ugu would serve as a deterrent to others who might want to venture into the practice without necessary certifications. The judge therefore sentenced the fake doctor to a jail term of 6 months consecutively on each of the 7 counts preferred against him by ICPC. Justice Kutigi also ordered the restitution of the salaries and allowances paid to the convict while under employment of the Federal Ministry of Health. He added that an additional 1-year jail term should be served in case the convict failed to meet up with the restitution order. In another development, ICPC and Budget Foundation have signed a Memorandum of Understanding MOU to further enshrine integrity in the execution of publicly funded projects. The MOU was signed at the Commission's headquarters when the budget delegation led by its country representative, Mr. Gabriel Okeowo, paid a courtesy visit to ICPC. In his remarks, the ICPC chairman, Dr. Musa Adamu Aliyu SAN, expressed his satisfaction with the terms of the agreement as it is a testament to a shared vision between the Commission and Budget Nigeria as the two organizations continue to ensure that the country's scarce resources are deployed appropriately. Earlier in a brief address, the country representative of Budget, Mr. Gabriel Okeowo, stated that the MOU demonstrated the two bodies' mutual commitment as certain clauses within the agreement were already being implemented even before it was officially signed. That will be all on this segment. Transparency Files continues with Murna.
Whoa, Mr. HR, I've told you. You must employ my niece. All this one you're saying is story. Do the needful, Mr. Man. You can take your leave, I am busy.
Yes, sir.
My uncle said I should pick up my appointment letter.
You're expected to resume next week. Please come along with all originals for documentation.
Okay.
Oga, don't tell me this rude girl has been employed. She's not even qualified. She got the job because of her uncle.
Why not go and announce it on national TV? Atafo. Will you leave my office?
HR, how did that girl end up in this office?
GM, you didn't tell MD me. MD, sir, she's the GM's niece, and he asked me to employ her.
Oh, so this organization is now a family business, right? Are you aware that she hasn't been certified? Oh, it shocked you, Abby? Anyway, the board has taken a unanimous decision. Her appointment has been terminated, and I will expect your resignation letters to be handed in tomorrow morning. You have exhibited corruption in one of its worst forms. Please leave my office. This message is brought to you by the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission.
You're watching Transparency Files. ACAN, through training, advocates for the establishment of strong ethical frameworks in organizations to ensure that employees are held accountable for their actions and decisions are made based on fairness and transparency. To ensure transparency in the national workforce, certain strategies, policies, structures, and outlines are developed. We spoke to Provost of the Academy, and here is what he had to say on the subject matter.
I'd like to say that training is our primary responsibility in ACAN, and we train public servants, public officers, and the general public on issues of transparency, accountability, ethics, integrity, etc. We are more particularly interested in public officers and public servants, likely because they are critical to driving programs and policies of government. Now, in terms of what structures we have put in place and the strategies that we have been enunciating or outlining to ensure that the workers themselves obey the rules of transparency. First, I would say that by training them regularly, we try to equip them, not just in terms of their intellect and understanding of the issues surrounding transparency, but also we give them the skill that is required to enforce, to implement transparency in their various organizations. How do we do that? Now, we bring these officials regularly to our campus, the academy. Sometimes we have trainings that go for 3 days. We have trainings which are called certificate courses that last about 2 weeks. We have trainings that we tag corruption risk assessment training, which lasts about 1 week. We also have leadership training programs for the leadership of the organizations in the public service. Now, our thinking is that those who attend our programs, definitely all civil servants cannot, but those who attend our program can cascade what they have learned to the rest of the service. And I think we're achieving results from the feedback that we get. Furthermore, we have also ensured that in this training, apart from training them in issues of corruption, transparency, and accountability, as well as corruption risk assessment, which makes it possible for them to find a means of detecting corruption red flags in their various organizations and prevent them from spreading, from metastasizing, as it is done when the situation is cancerous, it metastasizes. So we do not want corruption to metastasize. So what we do is to train these people to develop the skill to be able to detect corruption risk in their establishment. In general, what we do is to ensure that when they leave our academy and they get back to the organizations, they are able to put in place a management system and a management structure that can detect corruption before it breaks out, prevent it essentially.
ACAN has a rich curriculum that not only focuses on anti-corruption studies, but also programs that promote transparency in the workplace. The Deputy Director of the Academy, Mr. Richard Bello, sheds more light on such programs organized by the Academy and their importance. Let's take a listen.
You cannot divorce anti-corruption from transparency. Whenever you fight corruption, there will be efficiency. The programs of the Academy are not just for the public sector alone. We even deal with people in private practice. So programs around procurement, it's about transparency. Project management, about transparency. Illicit financial flow and money laundering. Curbing illicit financial flow and money laundering. It's about transparency. So those are the kind of programs the Academy organizes. And it's not just about a certain aspect of the public sector alone. Our programs cut across the 3 tiers of government as well as the 3 arms of government. And like I did mention, the private sector as well. And so when transparency is promoted in the workplace, you have a good, work ethics, you have good work environment, organizational culture is promoted, and at the end of the day, the achievement of the goals of the organization become seamless.
In order to support transparency in the workplace, ACAN recommends adults which provide independent checks and balances, helping to identify any areas where transparency may be lacking. McPherson explains how the Academy ensures that organizations' actions are compliant with anti-corruption measures to ensure workforce transparency.
We have some specific courses that will help the public servants themselves, particularly members of the anti-corruption units and other compliance officers in ministries, departments, and agencies, to be able to ensure that compliance in their workplaces. Something like the corruption risk assessment training is supposed to build the capacity of these compliance officers to be able to identify even telltale signs of corruption before they even occur. The trainings we conduct at the Academy reflect on the ethics and integrity compliance scorecard that is conducted by the headquarters of ICPC. Those who have been able to subject themselves to our training, you see the result when this survey tool is conducted on their organization. You see that they understand the issues and they have taken necessary steps to ensure that the organization is compliant. So there are ways that our training is also checked by another department at the headquarters. So we know those departments, we know those organizations that have done very well by their attendance of our trainings. You see that their performance at the ethics and integrity compliance scorecard is usually very high.
You're watching Transparency Files. Welcome to this segment. Women play a significant role as agents of change in combating corruption. In this way, empowering them to actively engage in these efforts is crucial for building a more sustainable and accountable society. Habiba Ahmed speaks to us on this matter.
have been using their unique perspective to address issues of corruption. If you go way back to About Women Riot, when the government or the people were taxing women, business women, a lot, and you could see women coming out in large masses and utilizing, the cultural perspective of women as sacred and they're supposed to cover themselves, going out on the street naked to demand for accountability. That in itself shows that women can leverage on their unique perspective to demand for accountability. Now, coming back to today's century, where we have social media, where we have different platforms and means of social engagement, in naming ceremonies, during antenatal, during different health checkups, where enables women to meet up, women can utilize these different perspectives of theirs to talk about corruption and demand for accountability. We all know that corruption hits more on the women because women are often at the receiving end of a lot of services that are being, denied by corruption. For instance, issues of healthcare, issues of maternal health, and the rest. Women find themselves at a disadvantage because of corruption. So women can utilize their soft spots, as they say, when they say, oh, women are soft. They can utilize their soft spots by talking to their husbands, by talking to their sons, to be able to stop anti-corruptional practices and build anti-corruptional behavior within their kids. I will utilize a project of I was part of in Enugu State, demanding for accountability, where women and girls put their voices together to demand for accountability. And they came together to form a coalition. So a coalition is different groups coming together as one voice to demand for one thing, which was stop corruption. And they named that thing CTAG, Community Group Against Corruption. So, and this group of women till today are still demanding for accountability. So through social inclusion, that is women coming together regardless of their different groups and different agenda or thing, they can come together and work together to demand for accountability. These women in Enugu, the CETA group, have been able to push for accountability for a transformer to be installed in their community. And they have been able to push in terms of maternity health. They discovered that through monitoring and hearsays with matrons and their other female colleagues who go through antenatal care, that they bring these immunization drugs and then the nurses sell it. And because of that coalition, they were able to demand for accountability. Where is our immunization? Where is the card? They took that hospital to the media, and the media dragged them to the point whereby the local government chairman and even the state governor had to intervene. So you see the power of women coming together and demanding for accountability. So number one is about identifying ourselves. We identify ourselves as different groups and indigents, regardless of what we do, whether it's women in business, women in market spaces, women in politics. We come together, form a coalition to demand for accountability. And for the young girls, CSOs can be able to leverage on different institutions and different schools and bring them together. I think Gender Mobile is doing something like that alongside with RAPA, whereby we go to different institutions and create a one-hub community center where women and girls come together to talk about issues that they are facing within the school because of corruption and corruption practices.
I am a Nigerian, a highly cultured race. My culture abhors corruption, and with my integrity, a new Nigeria is possible. I say no to corruption today to build a future for my children. Join me and imbibe the culture of integrity to build a Nigeria of our dreams.
Thank you for staying tuned. Before we wrap up on today's edition, please stay tuned as we bring you updates from our state offices.
From Lagos State comes a report that the Resident Anti-Corruption Commissioner, Mr. Kabir Elelu, has stressed on the importance of partnerships between organizations, law enforcement agencies, and regulatory bodies to tackle fraud effectively at the 2024 International Fraud Awareness Workshop organized by Friesland Campina Wamco Nigerian PLC. The RAC further mentioned that collaborations like this enables the sharing of intelligence, best practices, and innovative solutions to corruption issues as a whole. From Katsina State, the Resident Anti-Corruption Commissioner, Mr. Mahdi Muhammad Lawal, inaugurated Anti-Corruption and Transparency Unit members at the Federal Medical Center in Daura. He urged the newly appointed members of the ACTU to work as a team and relate closely with the management staff in entrenching a culture of discipline and accountability within the hospital. Coming from Port Harcourt, the Comptroller of Nigerian Immigration Services, Rivers State Command, Mr. Abdulmajid Yabasi, led a team to pay a courtesy visit to ICPC to initiate partnership with the ICPC in a bid to explore ways to eradicate corrupt practices in the state. The delegation was received by the Resident Anti-Corruption Commissioner, Mrs. Ekere Usiere, who expressed readiness to work with the service in line with the Commission's efforts to increase stakeholders' engagement in the fight against corruption. Similarly, the State Commandant of Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, Bauchi State, Mr. Olorende Nielsen, led a team to pay a courtesy visit to ICPC Bauchi to cement the already existing synergy and strategic partnership between the two organizations. They were received by the Resident Anti-Corruption Commissioner, Mr. Bello Idris Bakori, who stated the importance of interagency collaboration between law enforcement agencies to make the fight against corruption stress-free. And from Owerri, Mrs. Chinwe Ebiocha of ICPC Imo State inaugurated Anti-Corruption Club at the Comprehension Development Secondary School, Owerri. She enlightened the teachers and students of the school to shun corruption and social vices prevalent in schools and charged the students to imbibe the virtues of hard work and integrity.
And so, adopting ACAN'S principles, Nigeria can achieve a transparent and accountable national workforce, reducing corruption risks and promoting ethical behavior at all levels. A national transparent workforce transparency is crucial for building trust, promoting accountability, and ensuring ethical behavior within the country's public and private service systems. To know more about the Academy's activities, please visit www.icpcacademy.gov.ng. That's our package for this week. Thank you for watching this edition. See you again next week. My name is Murna Barnabas Atiai.